All right, take number 2. Wi-Fi seems to be kind of bad today. It's very, very windy and blustery here, so maybe that's why. Hopefully, we're done with that problem. All right, so hi guys. Welcome to Nelly Belly. I'm Janelle from Nelly Belly. It is a Tuesday. Hooray for Tuesdays. Today I am making a really fast and simple meat pie because this pie specifically only takes 1 pan and a small little space of counter because we are in the middle of putting in our kitchen flooring and I do not have space, nor do I have time and energy to make anything fancy, but I still want something decent. So this is one of my favorite things to make. In fact, we had this yesterday. We had it last night, again for breakfast. So I'm sure my family is super stoked to have it again today, but it is delicious. So very simple. What you need for your ingredients, the number one thing you need is a puff pastry. This is what creates our top without any trouble whatsoever. It's really fast and easy. Now when you're using a puff pastry, make sure you set it out for about 30 minutes before you want to use it so it thaws just enough to work with. You want it super cold though, okay? The other thing I'm using is a mixture of, if you hear anything in the background, it's because Nate, pop your head up. Where is he? Come over here. There he is. He is installing our flooring right now while I am doing this. So I'll try to have him keep it down a little bit. Okay, so puff pastry, I went to the butcher and had them grind. We have ground beef and ground pork. I like to use 2 different kinds of meat. You can use any kind of meat you want to. I recommend using ground meat for this because it packs in real nicely into your dish, and so it creates this like pie effect because it's so packed in, okay? And then we're gonna put in some veg. So I've got potatoes, I have onion, garlic, carrots. You guys remember my dogs? And then whatever frozen veg you can find, get your hands on it, okay? So I have frozen peas. Yesterday I used mixed vegetables. Whatever you want to put in, mushrooms, whatever your family likes. Okay, so let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start our potatoes. We want to actually cook these potatoes in advance because if we put raw potatoes in here, they're not gonna cook in time. And we want them to be mashed so that when they go into the pie, there's not any pockets of veggies. They're all squished in real nice and create this really nice tight surface. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut up my veggies. I'm gonna put some water in a pot and boil the water. Hang on just a second, look at my mess. Maybe my husband's back there, you can say hi to him.
I'm way over here, they can't see me.
Oh, you guys. We had to move out our fridge because we're putting in flooring and our fridge is over here. But let me show you where it is right now.
I kind of like it here, by the way. Let's keep it here, I think.
Look at that. Yeah. Talk about remodeling. Anybody done this before where it's just a disaster? It's just a disaster. Okay, so anyways, point is, I'm going to cut this potato. I'm not even going to bother to peel it. I want to cook it down a little bit though. So I'm just going to cut this and put it in some boiling water with a little bit of salt. So this weekend, we spent the weekend installing flooring, and it has taken us, whoo, you guys, it's been a good 5, are we in day 5 maybe, Nate?
Probably with prep and taro.
Day 5 maybe of installing this flooring, and it looks fantastic. In fact, if you go to nellybelly.com today, I have a whole tutorial on how to install this stuff. But it's a job, and we're still not done with it. We just actually, you guys, I'm a little late getting going this morning. I would have liked to have these done, these veggies cut, but we installed the very last tile about 15 minutes ago. So I'm super stoked about that. All right, so I'm gonna put these potatoes into water, boiling water, and get these cooking up while we work on our actual meat, okay? So I'm gonna grab some salt. Forgot to salt my water. So I'm gonna show you the flooring. Oh, can you see it actually? Oh, you can see the flooring. There it is. So it's this really, really pretty black and white vinyl tile from Armstrong. And it looks gorgeous. It's beautiful, easy to install, but prepping the floor, holy cow, is that a process. It's a big process. It takes a long time, And so we've been prepping floor, and this house is an 1880 home, and so you can imagine the subfloor, ugh, was just a beast. Anyways, so you don't have to put potato in if you don't want to put in potato. You don't have to put in potato. I love to use potato in this meat pie because it acts as a thickener for any kind of liquid that kind of pools up a little bit. So I really do think you should use potato. You also could use leftover mashed potatoes if you wanted to. You could also make your potatoes in the microwave if you feel like it. My microwave is not even in existence right now, so I can't even use my microwave. But I would love to know what you guys are up to. Where are you from? Tell me if anybody is in the middle of remodeling anything. What you're remodeling. I would love to know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to one pan this. And I'm going to one pan this because I'm going to use my big old cast iron pan. Okay? If you have a cast iron pan, they are brilliant for this particular dish. So cast iron pan, I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to get my meat going. So again, I have ground beef and ground pork that I had ground at the butcher. Actually, my husband had it ground at the butcher.
They ground it fresh this morning.
Fresh this morning. Because our house is a disaster. We're just getting ingredients as we need them. We've eaten a lot of takeout. Thankfully, we have like decent takeout around here, so we have like Chipotle and Jimmy John's, and I mean, better than McDonald's, but still, takeout. So, just some ground beef, ground pork, 1 pound of each. This is going to make enough to easily feed 6 people, if not more like 8 people. We're going to let this brown up. Now sometimes I'll make this into individual pot pies by putting them into like a pop holder pan, so a giant muffin pan. I'll put the filling in and then put the puff pastry on top and make them into small ones. Or like a casserole dish, small. I have these mini like, what are they called, the mini croquettes? Is that what they're called? Mini casserole dishes that I'll make into tiny little pot pies. And you'll get about 6 really good sized ones from this recipe. So we have 2 pounds of meat in here, 1 pound of ground pork, 1 pound of ground hamburger. We've got 2 red potatoes boiling. Now I'm going to cut up an onion and throw it in with this. Now, this recipe you could absolutely use traditional pie crust if you want to. I don't want to because, 1, I don't want to use a pie plate. I want to use my cast iron, so it goes straight into the oven and I don't have to deal with any more messes. 2, I think it's really fun to use puff pastry, and it's pretty, so I'm just going to use puff pastry. Also because I don't want to make a pie crust. I don't want to have to use one more counter. I feel like I'm living in like a little camper right now because it's just so little space. I am not able to see any comments. If you guys are here and you're hearing me, can you comment and let me know, because I'm not seeing any comments. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you have made meat pie before. Meat pie, and what your favorite version of meat pie is. And this weekend I asked you guys for some ideas for TV shows, because I was working on all kinds of accounting and paperwork this weekend. And somebody suggested to me Travelers, which I appreciate because I'm on my like 7th episode of that. And I'm really enjoying that. And then I started watching, so when I'm working, I like to watch a show that's not terribly like interesting, like I don't have to like stay focused on it. And I was watching True Detective. And that was interesting too. So I appreciate the suggestions, you guys. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Robin. Circleville, Utah. Landon Ray from Arizona. Good morning, Landon. Boyd Palmer from San Antonio, Texas. Good morning, Boyd. I have never been to San Antonio, Texas, and I have heard it is a really great place to go and cost effective. All right, so we got about 1 red onion, going in. You're not supposed to do that with your knives, by the way, guys. Use it for scraping, but who does not? For real. Like, everybody does. Janet from Henryville, Indiana. Christine from Smithfield, Pennsylvania. Good morning. Pandora, what is meat pie? Meat pie is just a bunch of meat in a crust. It's pretty much what meat pie is. It's just a savory pie. This is technically, I call it a meat pie. It's a meat pie in a sense, but really it's a puff pastry casserole, if you will. But it's really easy and really fast, delicious, and you can use this for company because it's such a pretty dish that it looks really, really great. So you can totally serve this up for if you have company over and you want to have something really hearty, especially in the wintertime. This is really hearty. It creates its own gravy in a sense, but I would totally recommend going ahead and getting some gravy, bottled gravy, as long as it's a decent brand if you want to, and serve it up with some bottled gravy, some gravy, salad, bread, and you're good. It's just that good. Coke, you guys. For those of you that like Pepsi, it's all about Coke. Good morning. Lucy from Wisconsin. Nice to see you. We are over in Stillwater, which is right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So do you guys watch football? Anybody watch football? I'm in a fantasy league, and I have won 3 weeks in a row now. So I'm about to take over the first place person, and I'm very excited about that. So I'm going to let this come to a boil. I'm going to brown this. You can kind of see it right here. Yeah, okay, good. You can kind of see it a little bit. And when it browns, I'm going to add in about 3 cloves of garlic. It's all about how much garlic your family likes. We like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to throw in quite a bit of garlic. Mindy from Diamond Head, Mississippi, good morning. And then we're just going to add in a little bit more veg. So I'm going to take a couple carrots. I think when you make this, you should use real raw carrots as much as you can, not frozen ones, because the frozen ones will get real mushy and it just doesn't taste the same. So if at all possible, use raw carrots, real carrots in this. And all we're going to do is peel it, cut it fairly small, pop it in here, and let it cook up just a little bit. It'll do a lot more of its cooking in the oven when the puff pastry is cooking. Pandora sounds yummy. It is yummy, and it's just nice and hearty. It's a good comfort food that has, you know, other than the puff pastry, it's real good for you. Of course, it's only if you eat meat. If you don't eat meat, you could try using mushroom. Beans would be a good substitute in a pie like this. You could use another kind of vegetable. Perhaps it's more potato, like sweet potato and white potato. Rutabaga, maybe. Actually, rutabaga, if you've never used rutabaga in stew and soup is the secret ingredient, because potato tends to get soggy, but rutabaga does not, and it has the same kind of texture as a potato. So rutabaga. The rutabaga is a pain to work with. And it's fun to say the word rutabaga. So I've got 1 dog here. Oh, 2 dogs. You can tell I'm making something with meat. They always show up when there's meat involved. Okay, so we're going to put in about 1 carrot. It's basically how much I get cut when I decide it's time to be done cutting carrots. It's about how many I'm going to put in. So now that we have the flooring installed, we have to put all the trim back up, because you have to take all the trim down whenever you put flooring up. You have to take all the trim down. Putting trim up is really a pain in the neck, so we're going to have to do that. And then we are building the cubbies. If you've been around, then you know we're building cubbies for our entry. And we had to wait for the flooring to get in before we could do that. So that'll be coming up here pretty quick. Let's see, anything fun that we did this weekend besides install flooring? Nate, did we do anything fun this weekend?
We got to install flooring together.
We got to install flooring together.
It was very romantic.
I don't know that I would say that was romantic. But I was on Groupon. I haven't used Groupon very much. How many of you guys have used Groupon before? I was on Groupon and found some pretty cool deals for places we already go to around here, so I'm kind of excited about that. Good morning, Marlene from New Zealand. I'm making you hungry at 7:15 in the morning. Well, you are welcome. Lorna, good morning, Lorna. So we have 1 pound of ground beef, 1 pound of ground pork, 1 red onion. We're gonna have about 2 carrots when I'm done, all in this pan. I have 1.5, 2-ish red potatoes. I say 1.5 because one was fairly small, boiling up and cooking right now. We're actually almost done. This is really fast and easy. Requires little dishes, which everyone knows I make a mess. I'm a messy cook. I've actually had people message me to tell me that I am so messy, and I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to clean up my mess. Why do you have to message me and tell me that? I'm familiar. My husband is the one that's probably more offended. He cleans up a lot after me, actually. But he also does eat my food, so it is a...
I enjoy every minute of it.
You enjoy... Did you hear that? He enjoys every minute. As is good and right to say. That is what you should say. So, did I ever tell you guys about this cutting board I use? I love this cutting board, and I use it all the time. It is from a Minnesota company in Duluth, Minnesota, and it is made from recycled skateboards, and it is dishwasher safe, antibiotic, whatever the heck it is, good for your knives, all kinds of stuff, and I just love this thing. I use it all the time. I've had it probably a couple of years now, and it's just awesome. Give this a little bit of a stir. So now that we have the last of the floor tile installed, we have to go and get it's like a roller that you use to, I'm going to turn this down, to roll across all of the sheet vinyl, or the vinyl tile, so that it sticks properly. But it's this great big giant, it looks like a giant rolling pin, to be honest, that you push around so that everything adheres properly. So I'm kind of excited to see what that looks like. It's going to be kind of fun. In a odd kind of way, of course. All right, this will be the last of the carrot. So I have my oven on to 400 degrees right now, heating up. We're done with all of that. Okay, so now we have a carrot in here. We have our meat in here. I'm going to throw in the garlic. So I'm just going to use a couple cloves of garlic. If my garlic thing is clean, I'm not sure if it's even clean. You guys, I'm one of those people that if my garlic press is not clean, oh, it's clean. I use garlic powder. I am not chopping garlic. It's just not happening. I've had this garlic press. This one's from Pampered Chef, and I've had this one since we've been married, actually. So 23 years. Nate, do you know that we've been married for almost 23 years?
It doesn't seem like that long.
Aww. That is the right answer. So I'm putting in 3 cloves of garlic. Again, it's up to you what you want. You can always use garlic. Oh, that one's bad. Don't use bad garlic. Gross. I'm going to take that out. Do not want bad garlic in here. Gross. Gross. Okay, we're just going to go 2 garlics. All right. So now here's the thing you need to do. So now that we have our meat and our carrots and our onion and our gross garlic, I'm going to put in just a wee bit of, oh, my husband, I don't want to use it. Thanks. Okay. I'm going to put in just a bit of flour into this mixture because the flour will help us create a bit of a gravy. So I'm going to put in about 2 teaspoons of flour. I'm going to sprinkle it right on top. before I add in any liquid or anything else, we're gonna put that flour in. We're gonna give it a good stir. And what's gonna happen is the liquid that gets added in here is going to then turn into its own gravy of sorts. Okay, so let's let that cook up. Nice, 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 nice. All right, and then we're gonna put in a little bit of broth. So I'm gonna put in about a cup of broth. Now the broth is actually really important because this doesn't have much else in it. I'm actually using bone broth, you guys. I use bone broth most of the time because it's supposed to be really good for you. I don't know if it is, but, and I'm gonna put in about a cup or so. Let that come to a boil. And as it comes to a boil, it's going to create a little bit of a gravy as it mixes with that flour. Okay, and now we're going to add in our spices. Turn this down on low. I'm going to have this recipe up, you guys, so you can follow along. Okay, we're going to add in our spices. We're going to put about a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put about a teaspoon of pepper in. Again, it's dependent upon your family, what they like. My family, we love good spice. Okay, and then I'm going to be using herbes de Provence. I don't know how you say this. This is a blend of marjoram, thyme, savory, rosemary, fennel, basil, and sage. This is a whole bunch of them all in one. If you don't have this, which you might not have, and that's okay, you're going to want to use sage, thyme, and probably rosemary as your 3 top spices, but whatever spices you prefer. If you want to, go ahead and go with straight salt and pepper. Don't worry about it. But I have this. I like to have this for dishes like this because it keeps it really easy. And I'm going to go ahead and put a good teaspoon and a half in here. Then I gotta get my husband. Hang on. Nope, I'm gonna ignore you for a second. The secret, Worcestershire sauce. Nate, I know you're watching this. Come down here and get Worcestershire sauce, please. Thank you. He's watching, so he's gonna get it. Listen, here he comes. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
What did you do?
I need Worcestershire sauce.
In the fridge over here.
In the fridge over there.
We're gonna keep it here now. I like it. And come home, just grab something right out.
Right? Okay, so remember those potatoes that we had going? They are completely done. I'm going to Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. Have you ever seen a 2-year-old try to say Worcestershire sauce? So I'm going to put a good tablespoon of it in here.
I can't even say it.
Worcestershire. Worcestershire sauce is magic for just about any kind of anything that uses ground beef. We use it in tater-tot hot dish. You're going to use it in even like your chilies a lot of times. Stuff like that. Magic. All right, so we're going to let this cook down a little bit. Now those potatoes are done. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to strain them out, but I'm going to keep a little bit of the water, so probably about a quarter of a cup of the water of these potatoes. Okay, so hold tight. Look at my nasty kitchen that's being remodeled. I hope your guys' kitchens aren't quite that bad. So potatoes, these are cooked soft. There's about a quarter of a cup of water in there. I'm gonna dump them right on top. I'm gonna turn you guys just a bit so you can see what this looks like. Okay. So that water is now mixing in there with the flour and everything we had in there. And now here's the secret. So those potatoes are kind of big. And I don't want those big chunks in there because the big chunks aren't going to settle nicely. They're not going to lay flat. So I'm just going to take something like this or a potato masher, which I don't own, and I'm just going to give them a little bit of a smush. I know, you guys. I also get emails from people telling me I should be buying the proper tools for the job. And I'm telling you right now, my kitchen is not going to get filled up with gadgets that I use twice a year. So I make do, and I use a soup ladle as a smusher, which is not what it's called. It's not called a smusher. But we have already established that I am not a professional cook. I am, in fact, the oldest of 10 children, and I have learned to cook from default. But I am a mean cook, and I make really good food. So, all right, there we have squished our potatoes with the proper tool. All right, now I'm gonna give this a taste. Taste this before it goes in because you can't fix it after it's gone in because you're covering it with pastry. Give it a taste. Make sure there's enough spice in there. I don't want to burn myself. It needs more spice. I'm gonna put in some more spice. And then I want to show you guys what this texture looks like. So I'm going to bring you over here to show you the texture. Hold tight. So you can see that this is kind of wet, but not super wet. And see how it's kind of going to mush itself down? That's what we want. We want it to be kind of mushy and soft. So now all we got to do, turn that off. Take our frozen veggies, put these in very last so that they don't get soggy while you're cooking, okay? So put in any frozen veggies you want to throw in there. Give them a quick little stir. Sometimes I like to stick in mushrooms. Mushrooms are my personal favorite, but my family is not a huge fan of mushrooms. Sigh. It's a personal burden that I must bear. I one time went to a dinner at one of our local kind of fancy restaurants, and they had a full 4 or 5 course mushroom dinner where it was a mushroom dish paired with wine or beer. The whole thing was just made out of mushrooms. Everything was made out of mushrooms. It was so awesome. I loved it. Okay, off track. This is done. Now, here's the secret. Puff pastry. Unfold it gently. If you get puff pastry that cracks a little bit and it's coming apart and you want it to hold nice, just put a little bit of water and seal it again, okay? And if it starts to warm and it's getting a little bit too warm past room temperature, just pop it in the freezer for 5 or 10 minutes, pull it out and start again. It'll work fine. All right, so puff pastry. I'm literally gonna lay this on top. I'm gonna let it overhang just a bit, press it down, and then I'm gonna cut off. I'm going to show you guys. Let's see if I can. I'm going to show you this in just a second. I'm going to cut off the edges. I'm going to take this one like this. I'm going to fill in this side over here. And then one more. So I got about one little sheet left. If you've got kids and you're making this and you have a little sheet left, cut it up and bake it. They love these. They're super, super tasty. All right. Let me show you what it looks like right now. So this is what we got. As it warms just a bit, it's gonna fold in. So now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the puff pastry off. So it's just a nice round shape. So it covers up our quote-unquote pie. Now, I would like to hear anyone that you make this for complain. Not a single soul is going to complain. Just so good and warm and hearty, and you serve this with a really dark ale, and it's going to be, everyone's going to ask for it again and again and again. All right. So let me show you what this looks like again. So this is what it looks like again. See how we got it all covered? All right, now what you want to do is, well, you have your choice. You can brush it with an egg wash or milk and makes it look even more fancy. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna brush it with egg wash, and then I'm gonna throw a little bit of the herb de Provence or fresh or dried thyme over the top to make it look a little bit more fancy. This goes in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. All we have to do is bake that puff pastry, and when that puff pastry is really, really golden brown, it's gonna come up about this tall on top of your cast iron. So it's gonna sit up over the top of the cast iron, and it's gonna be so good. Certainly Gayless. Okay, let's see. Pandora, my oldest daughter and 4 grandsons are vegetarian. Yeah, meat pie is not for vegetarians. However, I will say that this concept works fantastic for your root veggies, your mushrooms, your beans and rice. The same kind of idea is really hearty, and it's really easy to make, and put it in the oven in the wintertime particularly and forget about it. So if they don't like meat, go ahead and sub out your veggies and sub out your mushrooms, your rice. Cook some rice in advance and use rice in there, and it will be really good. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven, and it's gonna be done in all of 15-20 minutes, and there we have enough easily for 6 people. My teenage son counts as like 2, but otherwise 8 people. And hang on. So, look at that, guys. We're staying good. Oh, yeah, the tiles. Tracy, enjoyed watching. You were right. Actually, I watched this back and I go, Janelle, you have to stop doing that. Because, of course, I'm in my own home. You guys aren't eating my food. And if you were, I'd be far more careful. But still, I agree. And I am trying to work on not doing that so much. There is dust in my kitchen because of this flooring situation. And so it's just driving me crazy. All right, I'm going to show you guys the tiles real quick. Hang on. I'm going to turn you around if I can. All right, so here we go. These are the new tiles. There's the green cabinets. And we are working, I'm going to take you over here. This is what we use to roll the tiles. So this is the space that we've been working on. We got the door we have to work on. There's the paneling we've been working on. That ceiling, if you remember correctly, with all popcorn. There's the new light. Oh, hey, fridge, right smack in the middle. This is where the cubbies are gonna go. And again, we've been choosing these colors. We're gonna choose this blue color in the end. That's going to be the color of choice. But you can see here, we had to take off all the tile. And there's our old house. We have to fix all that. And there's the beam. If you guys remember, we enclosed this beam. We've painted it the same gray color. So there we go. That's where we are at right now. So anyways, we are getting somewhere, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, we are making a cocktail. Heck yes, I haven't made a cocktail for you guys in a while. So be here tomorrow. There's only 4 ingredients. Cranberry whiskey sour, I think is what it's going to be. So, and it'll probably be earlier in the morning, I think. I think that's okay. But let me get this in the oven, and I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a great day. Okay, bye guys.